Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the World of Positivist podcast coming from the Positive Vibes Magazine. Today we have a special guest, Calista. They specialize in spirituality and a lot of different things, so we're really excited to be enlightened by them. So, Calista, please tell us a bit about yourself, especially for the people who have never been in, who don't know you.
Oh, well, I just want to say welcome. Thank you for inviting me into this space. I am very excited, as is my cat Luna, who's just come in to say hello. Um, so I am an author of Spiritual Ascension. I specialize in helping people to connect with angels, unicorns, nature spirits, and really trying to bring some clarity and upliftment through these ever shifting, interesting times that we're living in. And I used to be a cancer research scientist. So I
Oh,
bring,
wow.
yeah, a little bit of, I guess, more grounded, practical spirituality to the table rather than, very channeled and I guess more sort of esoteric. I like to bring in the practical, like how can we actually connect with these beautiful beings and shift and change our life in partnership. So yeah, I used to be a cancer research scientist up until 2006, and I experienced a reawakening. I guess like so many do on our path, we have our 9 to 5 muggle job, and then
Muggle.
at some point, everything shifts and we begin to wake up and really discover, yeah, we are the being that we've been waiting on, and now is the time to really bring everything to this life experience. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Would you mind describing what that reawakening felt like when it first happened? You said in 2006?
Yeah, I remember, well, when I was younger, when I was a child, there was a lot of people in my family who were healers, mediums, spiritualist mediums, midwives. So there
Mhm.
was that thread of helping people and spirituality. It wasn't, it wasn't not talked about or shunned or shied away from. It was there. So I
Mhm.
kind of grew up connecting to fairies, and I remember like picking up crystals and talking to them and putting them under my pillow, and having this very sort of magical childhood. I guess many people
Mhm.
have, but yeah, I had my first experience of an angel when I was 6 years old. My guardian angel came in response to me asking for help because I slept over at my grand's house a lot, and her house was haunted. And the
Mhm.
spirit of the man who haunted her cottage would come in, and I was able to see and sense him, and it scared me so much. So I remember asking for help, and this beautiful light emanation, this beautiful angel, big, beautiful female angel came forward and wrapped her light around me. And that was my first experience of an angel. But yeah, so that was my childhood. And then I grew up focused more towards boys and being popular and all of that nonsense, that we seem to have to go through, all of the ego
Mhm.
stuff. Focused more towards getting my degree in medical biotechnology, starting a career in cancer research. And I thought I was doing good. I thought I was helping people, but the more I got involved in that work, in that sort of, it really was a muggle job. It was very 3D. It was really just, I didn't feel like I was actually making a difference. And what I saw in the pharmaceutical world, even though it helped so many people,
Mhm.
I found it really commercialized health. It wasn't in alignment with me. So when
Mhm.
you ask the question, what was I experiencing? I was experiencing a sense of, this is not for me. I need to make a shift. I didn't know what kind of shift that was. I thought, will I come out of this job and start a family because I was engaged at the time? Will I go back to uni and do my PhD, or something else? And it was option C that came forward. I studied a course in Reiki, and back then it was taught over months. It wasn't just like a day course. So I went along, and slowly but surely, with every class I attended, that ego, that cynicism, that everything that had built up started to dissolve. And the magic returned, the sense of wonderment, the sense that we're all connected. I began to meditate and found myself speaking to angels again. So it was a really mixed time of feeling like I need to leave. I don't know how to leave. I don't know how to make this leap, how to make the change. But I knew on the other side was all of these beautiful beings waiting, and they said, "Oh, you're here to be a teacher. You're here to write these books." That felt like a million miles away from me. I didn't know how to do that, and it took me a long time. It took me at least 6 months to make the leap and come out of the ego and the sense of where am I going to get money from? All
Yeah.
my family and friends were like, "What, you want to leave science and create somehow create a job as a holistic therapist?" They thought I was mad. People waving their hands over somebody to do healing. In their eyes, they thought that was just completely nuts. But I knew it was true. And so anyway, after 6 months, I took the leap. I left science, and it was exhilarating. It was totally exhilarating to leave everything that I'd known
Yeah.
and just
Wow.
take that leap of faith, but we have to do this. I think this is part of our spiritual growth. And we're being asked to do this more, don't you think? To take these leaps.
Yeah. You hear all the time when people reach like that point and then they have to make that shift. And I'm curious, how do you navigate those overwhelming thoughts? Like you said, it was so exhilarating. I can imagine being so overwhelming. How do you navigate that, especially when it comes to like mental health? Like I can imagine it's worrisome. There's a lot of anxiety and even depression that can come from that. How did you personally kind of like figure it out? Like you said it took 6 months, but like, how did you figure out how to, manage your emotions and not feel overwhelmed to just go, I can't do this. I'm just going to go back to your old job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it helps studying Reiki and also angel Reiki, angelic Reiki that I was studying, meditating. And I would go off when I felt so heavy and filled with the anxiety and all these like intuitive nudges to leave, when it was just too much. I would go to the bathroom at work and I would do self-healing
Wow.
just to find that moment of stillness and clarity amid all the opinions and the influences and the judgments from the external, but also everything that was going on within, just to give me that steadiness. And so that was a real touchstone. But I ignored it. I ignored the intuitive senses and the knowing. I ignored it. And what happens when we ignore our intuition? First of all, we start to experience it on a mental level, maybe as anxiety or depression or fear, and then it will filter down into our emotional body. And if we're not taking notice of how we're feeling and the emotional behaviors that's happening as a result of not following our knowing, it then manifests in our physical body. So what happened to me was I lost the sight in one of my eyes. It
Wow.
went.
Wow.
And it was reflective of ignoring the path in front of me. I was so scared. I was so scared to take that leap. But I remember going into the human resources department of my job, and this woman who helped me, I'm going to call her a beautiful woman because she was a teacher. She really was like that last nail in the coffin.
Oh, wow.
She said she had no empathy or anything. "Oh, well, you can still come in to work. You can just wear an eye patch." That's what she said to me.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, right, I have to get out of here. That's the last straw. And I left. I remember coming out of that meeting in tears. My fiance at the time picked me up, and we just sat in the car park, and I just cried, and I said, "I have to leave. This is it." And I did. And I haven't looked back.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. It's really interesting. We actually we just released a featured story on Kimberly, who has a very different story, but she talks about stillness and that she was a part of a workforce that was abusive, and that there was a point where she just was a breaking point. And I think it's unfortunate that that has to happen to a lot of people, if the workforce isn't accommodating or they're not understanding of your needs as a person. That's like the workforce has become, it's getting better, but it's mechanical, and sometimes I wish we lose out on that empathy and like human connection from it. So thank you for like sharing that. And I'm curious what your journey's been like these past, was it 14, 15 years? How did you even
Yes.
begin? Like, what was the first thing you did after you realized that you wanted to take that leap? Did you start, I mean, I know you were learning Reiki. Did you start teaching? Did you start writing? I'm curious what you started doing.
Yeah, since leaving science about what 15 years ago nearly. And what that looked like, what did I do straight afterwards? I had a sort of transitional step. I became a herbal medicine. I did my diploma in herbal medicine,
Mm,
which was a nice step from working in a lab to then creating my kitchen into a lab. And I made herbal remedies and skincare products. And I infused Reiki into the skincare, into the soaps, into the hair care. And back then, nobody was really doing that. I think a lot of people do it now, but
mhm,
it it, it was so wonderful to go from that hustle and bustle, pressure, judgment, influences, all the drama of that job, to then being at home on my own. The relationship with my fiance broke down because we were just not in alignment anymore. But we remained friends, which was great. But I was alone. I was alone in my kitchen making these products, working with these beautiful energies, and starting this process of reconnecting with angels and fairies. And so I was alone physically, but non-physically, I was having a party. I was enjoying life, probably for the first time, because I was really following what felt true to me rather than living my life in rhythm for somebody else. I was doing things for myself for the first time, and it felt really good.
wow, that sounds amazing. I'm curious about what you're currently doing right now from that point of when you first started making these remedies. What have you been working on now? What are some exciting projects you're doing right now?
Yeah, well, from there, I began to work with the angels, and we created what was called, what still is called angel healing. It's a hands-on certified system. Since 2009, we've been traveling around the world teaching that. It
Oh,
came online last year when COVID and things hit, and it's just growing from strength to strength. We have like over 1,000 practitioners now,
wow.
which is great, student practitioners and teachers. And its sister modality is called unicorn healing. I've literally just finished teaching that. Every Friday we get together,
Oh,
a group of around about 80 of us from all over the world. We get together and we connect with different types of unicorns, and we learn about their healing and their medicine. And it's just beautiful. I count my blessings every day because it's really not a job what I do. It's fun.
no, that sounds amazing. So I'm curious, how do these class sessions go? Like what is being taught? Like what exactly do you teach when it comes to like angel healing and unicorn healing, connecting all this stuff? I'm curious, like what it is you learn through this program?
Yeah, well, angel healing is taught over 3 different degrees. The first degree is connecting with 34 archangels and their twin flames, their counterparts, the female angelics, which has never really been talked about. I wrote a book called The Female Archangels last year, and they really have come forward to help bring the balance to the angelic realms, to our angelic connection, because for so long angels have been seen in this sort of masculine form, but they
Mm,
really don't have a gender. They're
hmm.
androgynous, but they have an emanation which can be felt and perceived as masculine, feminine, or unified as balanced. but for so long it's just been the masculine. And so these female angels started to come in around about 2011 when we made that shift from Piscean to into Aquarian age. And they really started to come into the modality then. So in level 1, people are attuned to the archangels and the archaea and learn how to not just channel angelic light to move through them like a Reiki, for example, but how to communicate with angels, how to really make friends with them. Where do the angels come from? Why are they here? Also, they discover who they are because they tell us that 80% of humanity have angelic souls. And so the course is all about remembering, starting to reawaken your angelic origin and heritage so you can bring heaven upon earth. It's non-denominational, but it celebrates um, angelology, really living and breathing, partnering your angels every day. Level 2 is the practitioner course. Level 3 is your teacher degree. So we've got certified teachers now in the States and the UK, which is great. And it's continuing to grow. Hopefully this year we'll have teachers in Australia and the Middle East. So fingers
Oh,
crossed.
wow. Wow, beautiful. Oh, wow. It's amazing. Can you tell me, I'm curious on what your advice is with skeptics, people who are skeptical of the work you do. I mean, like you said, the people you were around before you wanted to make this transition were kind of opposed to what you were doing. So I'm curious what those relationships look like now. And also, how do you
Yeah.
navigate those people who don't believe in that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's funny because isn't it, you'll know this. You're in a world where positive vibes, people are focusing on positive vibes and spirituality. So you kind of get used to that world. And I
Hmm.
get used to a world of unicorns and angels and nature spirits and magic. And that's reality for me. But yesterday, I was interviewed by a national radio station and
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't know how big they were until I looked on the internet, and they have 3.1 million listeners. So I was like,
Wow.
wow. And talk about moving out of my comfort zone. It's a
Hmm.
sports radio station, and I thought,
Oh,
why
wow.
are they asking me to talk about unicorns on a sports radio later at night? Anyway, so I did the interview, and it was very clear that they wanted more of a sort of entertainment piece rather than actually being true. But yet the unicorns came in, and I could really feel that they had connected to
Hmm.
these two very masculine, very fixed on their opinions and judgments, like very reminiscent of my old days. They were there, but yet the magic was weaving, and I could feel the unicorns with them. And actually, in that 10-minute interview, led them through connecting with their own personal unicorn guides. So it was quite incredible.
Yeah.
Um, so, in answer to your question, yes, there's always going to be cynicism. There's always going to be more of the mainstream. Is this just fluffy? Is this like an entertainment piece? I guess like that piece was. But nevertheless, the magic is still there. And if people are ready to connect, they absolutely will. I mean, I was a hardened, cynical scientist. I didn't, even though I had a very spiritual childhood, I didn't think that I would ever go
Hmm.
back to it.
Hmm.
And I think it just takes a moment in time. If we're ready and everything's in alignment, then people will start to make the shift. And I feel that so many people are waking up, don't you feel?
Hmm.
Especially the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the like kind of new age, and a lot and even people call it new age, but I think it's always been there. I think a lot of people do have these experiences, like you said, when you were 6 with the angel that, helped you. I think people have these, unique experiences, but like people, like even yourself, you said you were scared or you don't embrace it because it's the unknown, and so I think even though you are not aligned at that point, I think one day you will be. And I hope a
Yeah.
lot of people reach that point. And I like that it's becoming more of our mainstream media, not as much as I would want it to be, but I think one day we're going to see a lot of holistic healing, positivity, mental health. I would love to see that as our mainstream news, mainstream media. I would love to see that. And I really hope that the piece that you interviewed yesterday was an entertainment piece. I hope that their listeners actually did get something from it. I really hope that. And
Yeah.
and for us, our main platform is not to sway or like swayed like an opinion or something. We bring on guests who just are light workers, amazing people, have such a
Yeah.
powerful story to share, and it's up to our audience to determine what's truth for them and what's going to work for them. And so
Yeah.
we love
Yeah.
to give, and I love the power of options. So we try and give our audience the options, like, is angel healing for them, or is it Reiki, or is it something else, or is it just traditional religion that they need, or maybe
Yeah.
it's nothing. Maybe they just need something from someone else, because we do interview like actors and career people too, so we try and bring on anyone who's making a positive difference. So I really commend you on coming today and really sharing what you're teaching. Do you have anything else you would like to share with our audience? Anything that you've experienced you want them to know? Maybe you can even bring up the pandemic on how to navigate that. Anything you like.
I just think what you're doing in your network and your show, I think, is wonderful because you're celebrating diversity in so many different ways. And that is something that we need to continue to do. If the pandemic's taught us anything, it's about how how easy it is to lean into separation rather than unity. In so many different ways. It shows a
Mhm.
separation. Wearing the mask, not wearing the mask, getting vaccinated, not getting vaccinated. This mentality of us and them, I'm seeing so much on, and every week
Yeah.
I share Ascension updates, just like tuning in, what's happening, how we can navigate things. And the last message was all about, this us and them mentality. We need to get over this because I'm
Mhm.
seeing it even in the community of spiritual teachers and authors, this sort of means of judgment and separation happening. I mean, I was sent an email about, pretty much, why are you sharing these views on your page? And I thought, whoa, we have to stop this. We have to stop this judgment. Um, if we class ourselves a space holder, whether we are an author, an actor, a mother, a father, it doesn't matter. If we're holding space and we are being a template for another, whether it's our children, our community, our readers, we have to understand personal responsibility and to not let our judgment and our ego get in the way of our message, because this is a time of unity where we need to celebrate each other's differences and
Yeah.
go, okay, if you want to be over here doing that, that's great. More power to you.
Yeah.
I'm following my truth, you're following your truth. I think we can coexist. In fact, I think we can co-create and
Yeah.
create something really spectacular. So that would be my message, and that's definitely echoed by the angels, by the ascended masters, by the unicorns. They're all for knowing and expressing and having the balls, having the courage to live your own truth.
Yeah. Wow.
Now is the time more than ever.
Wow. Yeah. No, I resonate so well with the last part you were saying about we can not just coexist, but we can co-create. I hear the term coexist a lot, but I love the term co-create because we're not just existing. We're creating all the time. We're always manifesting something, no matter what. Even if you don't think you're doing anything, you are manifesting something. And I think there's something really beautiful about that. And I think a lot of people talk about us going back to the normal in society because like people are getting vaccinated. We're going back to the normal. I'm like, I want to know what this normal was, because I don't want us, I don't want us to go back to the separation.
Complacency. Yeah.
Yeah, the separation, the non-diversity, the not understanding of people's lives. It's like, I hear all the time, like, oh, I understand this is a hard time for all of us. I love that. I'm like, yes, but let's not use the pandemic as a way to just say that, because I feel like once pandemic kind of softens, we can't go back to like not understanding people's needs, and and yeah, I hope we don't go back to that kind of world. Because I think this is such a good time to really reflect on humanity and what we've been doing right, what we've been doing wrong, and just a good time to reflect on ourselves. And I love what you're talking about with the whole separation thing. Yeah, every time something happens in society, there's always, the two points of views, or I mean, of course, there's gonna be more, but there's always the two main points of views. Like, oh, this is right, this is wrong, the binary. But it's so much more than that. And two, yeah, I think it's sad that we don't connect. We don't see each other's point of view. We're like losing out on that empathy that is much needed. And I hear it a lot, but still, there's a lot of mainstream that's not encouraging empathy and being an understanding person. And it's sad how people are, like villainate or vilified, or how people are treated. And I think, yeah, something needs to be done. And I hope that we are getting to that point where people are awakening, because I think people are getting somewhat exhausted from that. And I think and I think people want to see something new and something like very positive, um, something that will, help their well-being, and something that's really going to support them. I really hope we see that.
Definitely. It's coming. I think we have reached a tipping point, and I think there's so many of us co-creating, focusing on thriving rather than just surviving. I really do. Yeah, I really do. And I think if we start to believe that, we're creating that reality. It's as simple
Hmm.
as that. So yeah, more power to you and all the work that you're doing. And I just think we need to continue to support one another, and the listeners and the readers and people who are in our community, just give them a voice as well, and listen to
Hmm.
them, listen to
Hmm.
their views, because at the end of the day, we're all going the same way. We're all on our path of spiritual growth, understanding, and ascension, but ultimately, we're going the same way. We're all equal. We all have the same capacity, the same potential is within us. It's whether we are allowing our potential to come forward and giving it a voice and giving it a space, or are we just happy in the normalcy and in the comfort zone? There's no growth there. There's only the familiar. So let's hope that more people are going to be taking those leaps of faith.
Yeah, what a perfect way to end it. Well, thank you so much, Calista. It was such a joy getting to know you. I'm glad we got to co-create in this space. And I'm glad, we are able to amplify your voice and share the amazing work that you are doing. So thank you so much for your service.
Oh, bless you so much, Zane. Thank you to everybody. Thank you.